what if there was a proven system that, if implemented, had Christian wives wholeheartedly seducing their husbands, even in sex-starved marriages, or even if she doesn't know that he's doing the program? Well, that is what Masculinity Reclaimed, Be Respected, Enjoy Fierce Intimacy, and Love Being Married Again is all about. I'm Belah Rose, and I've had the privilege of speaking to hundreds of thousands of people around the world in my award-winning podcast. And I'm grateful I've successfully coached men suffering in sexless marriages to become frequent, flirty, and intimately spontaneous again with their wives. Or men who were even separated from their wives and he attracted her back. I've even coached some of the most prominent marriage counselors on their own intimacy. Now, when you know and implement this system, then you can have assurance that your wife is actually attracted to you, and that she does really love you more than the kids, the housework, and everything else she puts on her plate. Once you know how to implement the Masculinity Reclaimed strategy, then you can deeply enjoy the years of marriage you have left. As a podcaster, author, intimacy and marriage coach, my work is heard in 155 countries worldwide, and they tune in because they want to understand what this is all about. And when I think about how it feels to go from that horribly painful relationship to feeling filled up in every way in your marriage, I'm reminded of a gentleman who came to me saying, I felt like I was living with a roommate instead of my wife. Sex was just intercourse and nothing else. It was always the same thing, the same way, with no variety at all. It was very unintimate. Lovemaking was always at the forefront of my mind, and I couldn't focus on other things because I didn't want to miss an opportunity to make love to my wife. I felt like I had to walk on eggshells around her so that I didn't ruin our opportunity that night. I felt like there were a lot of anxiety around sex, and it caused us both to be irritable, which caused a lot of arguments. Then only he went through this program and implemented the strategies. And after just 90 days, he said, my wife is initiating now. And she's thinking about me in that respect. Belah, I just want to thank you for these last 3 months. The things I've learned are really priceless when it comes to my marriage. When I first started this program, it seemed like my wife didn't even want to talk to me, much less make love to me. Man, how things have changed. The changes that I see in my wife are nothing short of a miracle. She has gone from being cold and callous to warm and loving. The kisses have gotten longer and more frequent. Lovemaking is incredible. And the emotional connection is real and much stronger than ever before and continues to grow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Another husband who came into the Masculinity Reclaimed program, he had a lot of reservations. His wife was the one who needed to change, not him. And I didn't argue because she did. He had been seeking her to be generous in intimacy, and even specifically penny, which is my term for oral sex for the husband. And men often come to me with that desire, and sadly with a painful past of her rejection, defensiveness, and mean comments, and has left him hurt and insecure. So within days of him beginning the work in the program, even though he hadn't shared it with her that he was taking the program, she apologized about some of the really hurtful things she had said about intimacy. And during the program, she started doing penny on her own initiation, and even told him that it's something that she'd like to include in their intimacy moving forward. Now, before I tell you more about this program, I need to share that because it's so focused on helping you learn and implement, it's very interactive with a whole teaching team behind you and accountability based. And so enrollment is not going to be open for long. So my invitation to you is to get started right away. But since you're watching this video, either you're a husband who wants, her to have confidence, desire, and even be spontaneous. Maybe you want her to start initiating, to start flirting, to start teasing, or that she would actually want to be with you. Or maybe you just want to learn to love her the way that she deserves to be loved, as the daughter of God. And maybe you want to be the man and husband and father that you should be. Well, let me tell you about the Masculinity Reclaimed program. First of all, there's lifetime access to that proven system, these 12 modules that clarifies your strategic timing of when to implement what, very specifically, so that by the time you accomplish this course, if you really give yourself to it and you really do the work, you'll have a marriage that makes you feel loved like a man. And after the program is over, you'll still have access to all that material, so you'll be able to go back over it at your leisure. And lots of men do this, even years afterwards. And during these 90 days, it's very interactive. So it includes live coaching, where I work with you on your specific questions and answers. We talk about the specific milestones that you should be accomplishing in your marriage in order to know where you should go next. You're going to have specific checklists for each stage of healing in the order that it needs to be accomplished. And you're also going to be held accountable by my teaching team of other graduates who have seen this material work in their own marriages, and they have real life experience to back it up. They've also seen it change other classmates, so they know this stuff works and they want to help you get the results in your marriage too. They are thrilled to help other men that are in the exact same spot they were in. So what are the key things you need to focus on to ensure your wife feels safe and cherished and known? How do you awaken her sexual sensitivities? How do you cause her to be attracted to you, even if it feels like she's repelled by you or sex now? I'll show you how to do all of that in the Masculinity Reclaimed program. The bottom line is that we're going to cover a lot of ground over these 3 months. With what I teach you, you're going to come out the other side a very different man, and having a passionate, playful, fully satisfying, intimate marriage by God's grace, and actually living that kind of life. But that's not enough. I want to take you beyond just knowing and right into action and fast results, which is why in this program, I'm going to give you support and guidance as you implement. So that includes weekly accountability forms, so I can hear how you're doing and ensure that you're getting the guidance that you need in your specific situation. Again, there's the live weekly team Q&A calls with me, where you share your specific questions, and it's all confidential and it's all private. There's also a private online communication platform where you can get real-time encouragement from my teaching team and other members of the group who can pray and process and support you on this journey. So by now, you're probably thinking that I've put together a pretty incredible opportunity for you, and that has been my goal, so hopefully that's true. But over the years, I've noticed some things that hold men back. And I want to help you gents who feel that this might not work for me because whatever it is. And so I have some bonus mini courses for you. And so you may be thinking, my wife is different. She's a control freak and very disrespectful. So if that's the case, I've specifically developed a program from controlling to carefree. Invite your wife to relax and enjoy life together. And one of my students says he would like to gift this to about 400 of his friends. This is a proven process to change that controlling, disrespectful culture in your marriage, not overnight, but when you wisely implement these things, changes happen before your very eyes. So you'll get that bonus. And another one that I find very helpful for gentlemen is called Wild Romance. Rediscover what you had at first. See, if your wife is anything like many of the women I work with, they want the romance, and yet the husbands are kind of like, I don't even know where to start with that. This is what she's looking for when she wants to be wooed, when she wants to be pursued. What does that mean? This is the cheat sheet for you. Even the specific ways you can do that for your wife, for her, who she is specifically. You might be thinking, but we're in quarantine, there may be some obstacle in your life that prevents you from having some kind of wild romance. Well, given that I and my husband live in a 1-bedroom apartment in New York City with 2 kids, and until a little while ago, we even had an apartment mate, and the wild romance was still seriously happening. So I can tell you it is possible, and in fact, I can teach you how, and it's yours included in the program, the Masculinity Reclaimed program. And again, that's the lifetime access of the 12 weekly modules. That's the weekly coaching calls with me. That's access to my training team. That's continued accountability along the way. All of this perfected throughout the years to really make this as effective as possible for you. So remember, if you want fulfilling, generous, and incredible intimacy, then you have to be strategic. You have to get the proven system, and you have to implement it. Now's the time to click the button and join me in the Masculinity Reclaimed program to transform your life, transform your marriage. And I'm not fully sure when I will be enrolling in this program again, and it is several times more expensive if you work with me one-on-one. But also, because I've added to my staff to support you and I've added helpful material over and over again, I'm not fully sure if this investment may increase in the future. It has in the past. So if you're having concerns about money and about this investment piece, here's what I know about money, because I've been doing this for years. Number one, when people really need something, their child gets sick and needs a procedure, their car breaks down, their wife has an accident, they may need to transfer money from somewhere else, borrow it from a friend, get some credit, but ultimately they find the money. If they see a severe need, they take action. And what I see over and over again is people who are on the brink of divorce, which on average is a $15,000 loss, just financially speaking, and it tears the family apart, impacting their kids and even their kids' kids. So if your family is being potentially destroyed or poorly impacted because you're a 2 out of 10 or even a 7 out of 10, and you've contemplated divorce, that's a crisis. It's far better than what you're risking to invest in a program that actually could turn it all around. You've seen it over and over by my brave clients who have shared their stories, and I'll tell you, those that haven't shared with their wives generally don't want to share in a public testimonial, so there's many that you haven't even seen. But you're risking happiness and fulfillment of your kids and yourself. I've worked with couples who were separated when I started working with just him, and she didn't even know about it, and she said it was worth every penny. So the second thing I know about money is we always say things like, when I get the money, I'll go get that degree, or I'll go pursue that job, or I'll do that program, I'll lose the weight, whatever it is. But the truth is, life doesn't happen that way. We have to apply our faith and commit before we ever see change and transformation. It's a leap of faith, but with a decision means you cut off other options and you decide you are going to change the destiny and legacy of your family. You're going to be a different human. You're going to make this transformation happen. Let's get a bit more personal, if I can coach you, and ask you a few financial questions. How much are the coping mechanisms you're using to distract yourself away from the pain of not having an intimately fulfilling life costing you? You deserve to be passionate, fulfilled, and energized. You deserve to love life and can't wait to get up in the morning and embrace what God has for you. What if you actually wanted to be home with her? What if when you walked through the door, she was excited to greet you with a kiss and a hug? Let's imagine your life as one that's free and fun and even intimately fierce. Would that impact your sense of confidence, your focus, your peace? Maybe your stress and anxiety, your levels of faith and freedom, and even temptation that leads to shame and distraction and separates you from God? Would it impact your self-worth, your vitality, your health, your sleep, your financial creativity, your courage? Imagine how much more money could you make if this were fixed. And suddenly, you had a sense of confidence and focus and peace and low stress, self-worth, vitality, health, sleep fixed, could you earn another $1,000, $5,000, $10,000? And extrapolate that over 10, 20, 30 years. I mean, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not far more. And it's not uncommon for graduates of my program to start new ventures or new streams of income or new passions or pursuits because this suffering is finally satisfied. They have so much more capacity in their brain for better things in life. But here's my guarantee. I want you to be totally comfortable with this program. So I am taking away the risk completely, giving you a 14-day money-back guarantee. So you can find out if this thing is right for you. For any reason, you can decide this isn't the spot. Okay, great. Simple email, and you're off to do whatever you think is the better option for you. But I want to take away all the risks. And that brings us to the final big surprise. The last piece of the puzzle that I have for you is a bonus called Awaken Her Sexuality. What you do intimately makes all the difference for her. And what I mean by that is, in this deep dive into practices a husband can do to cause her wife's intimate feelings to actually unnumb, because over your history together, that has probably happened for many reasons that we go into. But how do you actually do certain activities that awaken these things, these sensations? And a husband actually recently went through it and he was like, my gosh, apparently his wife went crazy for some of the stuff that I specifically had in there. So he was very grateful. This bonus course is not available to be sold elsewhere because ultimately, if you don't have the foundations of the MR processes, it's not going to help you. What you need is the Masculinity Reclaimed baseline, and from there, sexual practices are great and it's going to help. But we need to build up to that. Because if your wife shuts down, she doesn't even want to talk about sex, I get it. So now's the time. Again, enrollment is closing soon. You want to get started right away. So let's go, click below. I'm so excited to add your testimonial to the expanding list of what God has done in all of these gentlemen's lives. I want that for you. Let's join now.